Okay, so supposedly we're here on YouTube. Okay, we're on StreamYard. I see the little duck up there. This is
Yes.
this is Jeanèt Schneider. This is somebody I met on here. So you could say an internet decoding friend. And she wanted me to look at this story, which I'm sure y'all are seeing the thumbnail right now. I wasn't familiar with none of this before she brought it to my attention. I put in the title like not so trendy because it's not necessarily a trending story that just hit today or yesterday, but it's not necessarily an old story either. So not so trendy. But what we do over here is we break down these stories and we show um by the numbers that they're just stories pumped out of a computer by the language, and these letters have numerical values. A lot of the words right in front of our face. I'm noticing another one right now as I'm talking, but it's this language. This is magic. This is spells. This is spell casting, trickery. And a lot of times it's right in front of our face and we don't notice it. As again, I'm seeing more here, but this is Jeanèt Schneider. This is me. Daily Decodes 812, or you can call me Math Tucon or Matthew or Matt, whatever. Just know you got this information from us. Okay, so I'm going off of two articles here. Now, this is the first one that popped up. President Trump ensures lethal injection supplies for executions following executive order. Okay, and I'm not going to be reading off of this article because it goes into other cases as well. But what I want to show you is when I first looked this up, you see that right there. Look at the other names in there and how there's president names all in there. 4 convicted murderers, including James Ford. Well, there's a President Ford, which the
Yeah.
duck's kind of blocking there. Okay. And notice how he's the 38th president. That goes with what me and you were just speaking on the side, but we'll bring that
Yeah.
up later. Uh, Look, Joseph Zeiler, and these guys are on death row in Florida. Well, Florida does equal 38 too, right, Jeanette?
And so does Cape Coral, where the
Okay.
crime
Oh,
did
okay.
transpire.
Okay, and murder, death, killing, RIP. But look, Wade Wilson like Woodrow Wilson, and you get the WW. So even right in the article before I click on it, I know Trump is the current president, and then we have Ford, Wilson, and Joseph all right there. I don't know about the Massac Damas. I don't know, but 3 out of the 4 are president names, and I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. And
And it's
something.
really
Oh,
interesting that this article had popped up because Trump is also reversing all the pardons and clemencies that Joe Biden had
oh yeah.
made.
Right. And look at this right here. Let me remove this and add this. Uh, I'm trying to find where it shows the guy's name. But anyways, this murderer, his oh well, it's right there. You see Wade Wilson. That's interesting because you have the Roe versus Wade thing as well, right?
Yeah, that's
You know,
another.
you know what I mean? And all of that stuff has been brought up with Trump in the past. Okay, so I have 3 video clips. First, I'm probably gonna read. Let me read a little bit, maybe a paragraph or so, and then I'll play. And then I'll play one of the clips. So let me add this. So we should be seeing this right here. So I'm just gonna scroll down. This is the guy, and let me pull up a picture of him or something, and then so we can kind of look at some images as I'm reading a little bit here. So let me talk to Google real quick. Wade Wilson.
So while you're doing that, another thing that's really interesting is, murder also ciphers to 83, which is
Right.
38 backwards, right?
And so
And you
does
know how he
morgue.
has those tattoos on his face that are connections to, the Aryan Brotherhood. Aryan Brotherhood also ciphers to 83.
Oh, okay, and so does morgue. And so this guy basically he killed two women, right? And I don't know, were they both by strangulation? At least one of them, right? I think both of them were.
Yeah, ultimately, those were factors that were
He
ruled
does
in.
he does have a birthday right there. I missed that. And you know what's interesting about that birthday, the 20th day of the 5th month, is Trump equals 25 and he's the president in the year
Yeah,
25.
that's what I was gonna let you know when we went over the birthday.
So that's cool right there. And I'm just catching that. I missed the birthday when I was putting the breakdown together. But
And
that syncs up
also,
with Trump's birthday right there. Or with his
Cape Coral
25.
in reverse redaction equals 52. So
Oh,
that's interesting
that's
too.
the reverse. And you know what else equals 52? And you see that 38. All of this hits, but you see that 52 just like president, right? Right there.
hmm
And
And
White
then
House and government.
the
And
other
that
thing that was interesting is judge in reverse redaction equals 25, as does jury. And those are ultimately what, gave this
right.
character their
And yeah,
demise.
and Judge has 88 and 47 like Trump
Yes,
right
as
there,
well as
88.
jury has 74, which is reverse 47.
Right. And even Jesus Christ, look at Jesus has 74, which Trump's dad's middle name is Christ. And when you write out Jesus Christ, look, you get Trump's birthday, the 14th day of the 6th month, and you also get that 74. So I'm going to read a little bit here now.
Oh, and you want to know something else? Mental health equals 47 as well. And
That's
he
in,
had some mental health problems allegedly.
oh, yeah, that's interesting. Allegedly, right? And there's a lot that goes on with this case because he's got these Stitches tattoos, just like the rapper Stitches. And that rapper Stitches is also out of Florida.
And the other weird thing is the prison game that he's allegedly representing the Unforgiven equals 74 as well.
Damn, right, allegedly, right? Because don't you think it's interesting that they say this is the Deadpool killer because he's got the same name as that Marvel character? I don't watch none of that stuff. But don't you think it's interesting that whoever plays that character, Ryan Reynolds, for the most part, a lot of people would find him attractive, and for the most part, a lot of people would find this guy attractive. It's interesting they both got the same name, and that's just a character as well. So let me forcibly read this article because I know we have a lot of information here.
Oh, one more thing before you start. Wade Wilson is allegedly 6'5". Florida equals 65 in ordinal, too.
Nice. I think it's stupid in the article how the first thing they want to tell you is a man with a Nazi tattoo. Like, who cares, right?
Right.
Isn't that discrimination? The reason why they bring that up is because they know it's going to trigger people to not like Trump, right? Even
Well,
though he's for the lethal injection, right?
and also in Florida, there is a problem with the correctional system with this um Aryan Brotherhood in the gangs right now. It's a
Mm.
big thing that's going on in that
Yeah, so
state.
it just all syncs up then,
Yeah.
right? But what do you think about look at this. You see how can you see that? The first thing they let us know, a man with a Nazi tattoo, like who cares, right? Like, is that
Well,
what's
it's
important?
weird that they left the one out that he has on the side of his head. He has two.
Oh, is the other one a different symbol?
No, it's the same one.
Oh, okay. But I think they put that in there because they want you to think of Trump with Nazi and stuff like that, right? That's what I
Yeah,
think.
it's
They're trying,
definitely the language.
but if you're talking about murders, who cares what kind of tattoo this guy has, right? Like,
But also, I feel like there's this connection because Trump has committed crimes allegedly and he's infamous, and now we're trying to make this character infamous based upon the crimes that they've committed as well. So there's this infamy
you're
connection as
right.
well.
And something else, they've done this before with Ted Bundy, where it was a good-looking man, and remember he killed women, and it's something about like a divide too with getting the woman maybe not to like the attractive man, I guess. But that's the same thing with Ted Bundy. And you know what's interesting about that is we had Al Bundy with Married with Children, who was kind of like anti-woman. Again, this stuff is all fake by the numbers and by
But
the
this could
language.
also be being put in there to incite racial wars as well.
You mean like just a split between like Nazis and other cultures or what?
Yeah, and to program people to, support or, to hate subconsciously this type of
Right.
language.
Right. And I mean, we're in a culture now where who cares what somebody is? The fact that they would, oh, he's got like who cares? That's as far as I'm concerned, that stuff's all fake anyways. Like these are just stories that they give us about the past and what happened with certain people. Hey, people can be what they want to be as far as I'm concerned. It seems like that's where we're at now, so I should be able to say that. Look, hey, Gene,
Yeah.
Jeanèt, look, I'm going to read this, okay? Because we do need to move forward.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put this image up there and I'm going to read a little bit of this and then play a clip. So, a man with a Nazi tattoo on his face has been sentenced to death for murdering two women. And this was back at the end of last year. Again, not so trendy, but trendy. Wade Wilson, nicknamed the Deadpool Killer because he shares his name with the Marvel character played by Ryan Reynolds in the movie franchise, was sentenced by a court in Florida. Wilson, who had declined to speak to the court in Lee County early in the afternoon, was impassive as he was sentenced while there was cheering and applause from the gallery. The Independent said in June, and we'll go ahead and just get it out of the way. That's Trump's birthday in June.
Mm-hmm.
Was found guilty of killing Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz. Even Diane's got the D like Dawn. I don't even think they mention and D like death penalty, but I don't think in this article they mention Trump, but he's still connected. And I guess he is in support of the death penalty, I guess. Is that what it said? And
Yeah.
lethal injection. Okay. So even though he's in support of it, they still mention that Nazi thing right away. But he was given the death penalty for both crimes, the New York Post said. Circuit Judge Nicholas Thompson told the court the evidence shows the murders were heinous, atrocious, and cruel, while the second murder of Miss Ruiz was cold, calculated, and premeditated. And that was kind of hard even reading. They said he like hit her with the car and like ran her over until she looked like spaghetti or something. Man,
Yeah, it was
that's
a very
disgusting.
brutal, and what's interesting is if you put Nazi and death penalty into the cipher, uh, ordinal for Nazi is 50, reverse for Nazi is 58,
I
death
see that.
penalty reduction is 50, and then in reverse reduction, it's 58. And you can
Wow.
imagine the the persecution that the people went through from the Nazis, and
Right.
sympathy with all of those tragedies, with that situation. But, I think I thought that was really wide opening and interesting.
And yeah, and you know what else is interesting is can you see the screen right now?
Yeah.
So you see death penalty in Nazi 50, right? And then Nazi 23.
Yeah, the 23.
That's interesting because Donald equals 50 and 23 right there. Donald equals 50 and 23. And remember, there's 50 states as well. Uh, Look, even that 58 that you just mentioned, and look at when I write out Donald John Trump. Look, you get 185, and so you see the 58 right there, and look at the 22 and 220, just like Nazi equals 22 right there. Donald John Trump equals 220, like 22. And remember, his last birthday left 200 days in the year. And T is the 20th letter of the alphabet as well. Let's go back over here. I have a feeling we're going to be pushing at least an hour here. But the 30-year-old who has a swastika tattoo on his face killed the women for the sake of killing, Assistant State Attorney Andreas Gardiner told the court. And let me put it back on here. After stealing, okay, so Wilson first strangled Melton, who's age 35, in her Cape Coral home where her
Hmm.
body was found after they had met at a bar. After stealing the dead woman's car, he used her phone to call his girlfriend, Melissa Montanez. He assaulted her, but she refused to get in the vehicle. It's interesting that he's Wade Wilson, WW. You flip the W's over and his girlfriend's MM,
Well, and
Melissa
also the World
Montanez.
War connection with
Go
what
ahead.
was happening. World War, Wade Wilson during,
Oh, that's interesting.
Nazi,
That's interesting. Okay, and look, Ruiz is 43. We're gonna have to refer back to that as well.
Also, if you put Wade Wilson into the cipher and then you put Diane Ruiz, they both are reverse redacted to 55.
And God and Satan equal 55 too, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting. So, which one was the more brutal? It was Ruiz, right?
Diane Ruiz, yeah.
And the Melton one, he just kind of, it was like, I'm not saying it wasn't extreme, but it was just a straight up strangulation.
Um,
I can
from my
read. I
yeah,
can
from
read
my
more here.
understanding, it was that, and the reason why is because she was asleep. He did that when she was asleep, so she didn't have the chance to fight back. He
Yeah,
picked up
and I
he
think
picked
this.
up
Go ahead.
Ruiz, and he picked up Ruiz
Right,
walking to work, and she put up a little bit of a fight, and that's why I guess it was a little bit more brutal.
and it said Wilson strangled Ruiz before throwing her out of the car, only to get back in and run her over until she looked like spaghetti. Wow.
Yeah, because she got up. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna play a video clip or two here, and then I'm gonna show some connections, and then we can go a little bit further here. Let me I haven't used StreamYard in a bit. It looks like they added some stuff here. Let's play this video clip right here.
Golden in October, trial date is in for the man accused of killing two women in Cape Coral back in 2019. Wade Wilson is suspected of killing the two women, 35-year-old Kristine Melton and 43-year-old Diane Ruiz. Trial is set for October 18th. Melton's body was found in her home, and Ruiz's body was found in a field. Wilson previously admitted to seeing both women in the time leading up to their deaths, but denied killing them. Investigators say Wilson and cellmate Joseph Katz were caught trying to escape jail by trying to break out a window. Wilson could face the death penalty if convicted.
And we get another Joseph there. They said he tried to escape or
Yeah,
whatever.
and the escape happened September 3rd.
That's the third day of the 9th month, and man, I could have swore they just said 39.
Yeah, there is Deadpool equals one. Deadpool killer equals 139.
This is
And
beautiful because watch when I hit these slides because these numbers resurface again. I just don't want to give them away yet.
and also the Lee County, which was mentioned in the article that you read, equals 39 as well.
Okay. And there's more 39s as well. Here, I'm going to play this one as well.
The totality of the circumstances warrants that the defendant, Wade Stephen Wilson, be sentenced to death for each count of first-degree murder. Accordingly, it is ordered in the judge that the defendant, Wade Stephen Wilson, be sentenced as follows. Count 1, first-degree murder of Kristine Melton. The defendant is hereby sentenced to death. Count 2, grand theft of a motor vehicle. The defendant is sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in the Florida Department of Corrections. Count 3, battery. The defendant is hereby sentenced to 364 days in the Lee County Jail. Count 4, first-degree murder of Diane Ruiz. The defendant is hereby sentenced to death.
Okay, so I'm going to get into these connections, and we did mention this was from 2019. They give us 2 dates, October 7 and October 6. I put this together based on October 7th. Obviously, it's just a day apart, so that doesn't really like make this big impact on anything.
That last clip you played, man, that I can see in his eyes the fear that he has, and he's just sitting there trying to put on this front of being strong.
Yeah, and we do have to know that the guy might just be an actor as well, too. We have to know that, right? It's obviously there is real killings that go on out there. If let's say I went out and just killed somebody right now, it's not going to be mainstream all over the news, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
There's a
saying? They're
reason.
gonna they pick
there's
and
a
choose.
definite reason, and it has to do with the first sentence that you read in the article, the first article.
Yeah, I'm sure
Death
because
penalty.
they want to put that language out there with the Nazi
Also,
thing too.
what's going on in Florida with the trafficking.
Right. And look at this. So, right with this one article, that's weird how this article hit one day after the inauguration right there. January 21st and the inauguration January 20. And look at this. Right in the title, Jeanèt, President Trump ensures lethal injection supply for executions following executive order. And they mentioned Wade Wilson and some of those other cases. Look at lethal injection as 157 like United States. And look at this is Deadpool killer.
Yeah, Deadpool killer equals
Look,
77.
Like United States, and 67 like lethal injection.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. And even United States has 167. Lethal injection has 86. I mean, that's beyond interesting because we know 86 is to get rid of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look at Donald John Trump 68, which is the 86 reversed. Even Donald J. Trump, you get 68. Donald John Trump 76. Donald J. Trump 176. So that's just 67 flipped around. And this is just the 4 ciphers with the language. But look, we're not done. And remember, Deadpool, D like Donald, even with the one victim, Diane, D. But look at this. Kristine Melton equals 67 and 86. One of the victims.
Yep.
67 and 86, just like lethal injection. And then the 68 with Donald John Trump.
And also 67, like the Deadpool killer.
Yeah. And even like 167 in there. And that's one of the victims. So even Melton has that 25 right there. And that's Wade Wilson's birthday, the 20th day of the 5th month, right?
Yeah.
And Trump equals 25. So it's just not in my eye. So what's happening? are they actually just killing people by this code and then inserting the story here? Like, just insert character here, killing people by the numbers, or are these just like fake images? Like, we've never met Kristine Melton, right? So we can see these photos all we want, but we know there's a website that creates fake images. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really know. And again, if I'm sympathy, if this is true, no matter what the case, with if they are just killing by the numbers, sympathy,
I
right?
really feel like they're farming and doing scientific research on inmates in jails and in prisons. I really do. I really do.
That makes sense. That makes sense. When I was locked up in prison, they kind of like forced us, but didn't force us to take the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Where,
Yeah.
obviously we had the choice, obviously,
Did
right?
you see the clip that I sent you about the one guy that was they tried to find the vein in his arm for the lethal injection and they couldn't? And
Ooh,
that was the
uh,
first attempt. And legally, that's all they have to do is the first attempt of trying to do a lethal injection. They violated his civil rights. They put him
right.
in a gas mask and he really suffered. And it was horrific.
And you really
And
don't have rights in there.
I mean, I understand that he was in there for a reason, but I do feel like people are humans and they
Right.
have rights. Even if they do heinous or deplorable things, they're still entitled to constitutional rights. And it seems like the court and the judicial system is in this position where they feel that they're above these constitutional rights.
Well, it's because a lot of people in there, they're just gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like manipulation, if you ask me. But so Wilson was sentenced to death in 24 after being found guilty of first-degree murder, among other charges. Prior to the murders, Wilson had a criminal history dating back to 2012, including convictions for burglary, grand theft, and firearms, which not really a big deal. So when will
Ano-
this guy be put to death? Like,
Another weird thing is, he was also convicted of doing the same thing to a woman, but he got off on a jury. They let him go. And if they would have, taken this matter seriously, this incident may have never happened.
right. And we still don't know if that was real or not, right?
Yeah, I mean that
So what
we don't.
is so that's interesting,
And
Deadpool.
the
And
other thing is, the Nazi connection with the number 5, the connection with Trump with the number 5, you know, 5
Donald
days
equals
after he
50.
was released from being charged with battery, these murders or these crimes transpired, which I think is really interesting. The
Right?
number
And so he's got the same name as this character that Ryan Reynolds plays, Wade Wilson, in a Marvel character. And I don't watch this stuff, but isn't it's interesting too that you got Dead, and then this is Death Penalty, a death penalty story with the same name. And what I told you earlier is Blake Lively is also in this movie, and they're calling this
Yeah,
guy the Deadpool killer. Blake Lively's in this movie, and that's stupid that you get live in her name, like dead. I mean, come on.
yeah.
Notice how she's born on the 25th, and Wade Wilson has the 20th day of the 5th month birthday, like 25. Oh, they're freaking married? Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds and
So
Blake
you get
Lively are
Ryan
married.
Reynolds, you get double R's, and then you get Wade Wilson double W's, and his girlfriend supposedly is MM. Or come on, right? That's kind of stupid. You know what I'm saying? and Lively and Deadpool. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to these slides now because I got some more amazing stuff here. Let me add this. Look, we're not done with the 76, 67. So can you see that right there?
Yeah.
Look at this. Ryan Reynolds is born in 76.
76, yep.
Come on, right?
And
He's-
October 23rd. And the
Yeah.
October, you know, the 10 connection there with the incidents happening also in October.
Ooh, that's nice. And that's nice. And that's very nice. And his birthday is 16 days after October 7th.
And then you also have that 23 connection, which is connected to Nazis as well.
So his birthday is 16 days after October 7th, which they say the murders took place, and Deadpool released in 2016. And that's even a 17-day span from the killings to Ryan Reynolds' birthday, and kill equals 17.
17, yep.
Man, and even with that 16, Donald John Trump, John equals 16. And remember the insurrection or whatever? That was on 1/6, 16. Damn, there's so much, right? So you see the 67 Deadpool killer, lethal injection 67, United States 67, Donald John Trump 76, Donald J. Trump 176, Kristine Melton 67, Ryan Reynolds born in 76. Look at this. Are you serious, Jeanèt? Diane Ruiz, ABC 123 107, the murder
17.
date. And we just told you Ryan Reynolds' birthday, a 17-day span from October 7th to his birthday. He plays Wade Wilson, and this is the Deadpool killer story with the Wade Wilson. And right when I saw Deadpool, and again, Diane like Dawn, or D like Deadpool, this stuff is amazing. Diane
And
Ruiz,
Ryan
107.
Reynolds equals 170 ordinal too, so that's
And
interesting.
yeah, and what else equals 170? Sacrifice equals 170. Right there. 170 like 17. And even back here, Jeanèt, look at even Ruiz equals 74 with all those 74s we spoke of earlier. That's amazing, man. And you'll even in the article I'm reading from, I think it says October 6th. 10/6 is like 16, right? Deadpool
Right.
released in 16. And Ryan Reynolds' birthday 16 days after October 7. John 16 and 61, the Capitol riot 1/6/16. So what's up with this language? So look when we go forward. Look at this. Deadpool released 2/12. And Kamala Harris equals 2/12, Jeanèt.
Also back to that 16 connection, if you put 932020 in the day of the escape attempt, that equals 16 in the cipher as well.
So these numbers follow these characters, and you see the 16 right there, even 2016.
And also 61 reversed, you know, like that's the Unforgiven. It's also connected to
that prison
jurors.
gang or whatever.
Yeah, big one in Florida. It's also connected to jurors, and it's also connected to mental health.
Nice.
61.
Nice. And
212, yeah, that's a big one too with
Kamala Harris, and obviously Kamala Harris. And where the hell has she been? Now she's just not on the world stage no more. You know what I'm saying? Now she's just gone. Like her role is done. Amazing. And look at this as we go forward. So Kamala Harris in the reverse cipher 2/12, and that's the Deadpool release date. Look at that.
Also, you want to know something interesting with that 2/12? Deadpool's alleged birthday in like the Marvel history is December 11th.
Okay. So you get the ones and the
So-
twos again.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So it's like,
If there's people here who have watched that movie, it's amazing because they know more about the movie and they could add to it. Like, holy crap, right? This stuff is all connected and just pumped out of a computer by the connections and the language and the numbers. Look at this, Jeanèt. Deadpool, 100, the release date, 2/12, 123 days before Trump's birthday, and Kamala equals 123. And Ryan Reynolds' birthday, who plays Wade Wilson in the movie, his birthday 10/23, like 123.
and I think Nicholas Thompson equals 231.
Oh, is
The
that the
judge.
judge or whatever?
Yeah. And I think Lee County
Thompson.
also equals 123.
Damn. And Thompson T like Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So let's add this. Wow. This is why we come together. What equaled 123?
Lee County, where he was sentenced, where he's
And
been held.
And Lee has 22 and 14 like dead, and 22 like Nazi.
And also, if you think of,
Look.
General Lee.
Ooh, look at these. All of this hits, Jeanèt.
Yep. I'm trying to tell you.
Look, there's that 123. And look, that's the inauguration date right there.
Also, Deadpool's
January
birthday.
20.
Yeah.
Well, look, when we go back over here, we had a 42. And don't forget, Biden was born in 42. But look,
And
we had
Nazi
another
tattoo equals 42 as well. And so does Lee County, yeah.
we had another 42. I just don't see it. There was another, but anyways, we don't even like, it's not like we need it, right? But damn, Jeanèt, I mean, the stuff just doesn't stop. And let's go back to that real quick.
Also, if Deadpool's birthday, 12/11/1990 equals 24 in the cipher. So it's like 42 backwards.
Yeah, you're right. Man. And look at this right here. Isn't that interesting that he's got the red and the blue on? Like politics.
Yep.
I'm proud of myself
That's
for
a good
catching that
slide
one.
for, yeah, I was going to bring that up. I have that in my notes, actually.
I'm proud of myself for that
Also,
one. I mean, that's
what you were thinking is Diane equals 24.
Oh, okay. I could have swore I saw another 42, but I know, Joe Biden's born in 42 anyways. But look at this. The murder, October 7, 115 days after Trump's birthday. Killing equals 115, and the election was on 115, November 5th. I mean, come on,
Yeah,
right?
11/5, yep.
You know what I'm saying? And don't forget that murder on October 7, 2019. 20 plus 19 is 39. Lee County equals 39. Check this out as we go forward. I'm trying to get this to not glitch on me. Oh, but first off, let's bring this up. This song by The Police, Murder by Numbers. Look at the lyrics. For murder is the sport of the elected. And you don't need to lift a finger of your hand because it's murder by numbers. 1, 2,
Weird.
3. Right? It's as easy to learn as your ABC, something like that. But you get the 1, 2, 3, but murder is the sport of the elected. And you don't have to lift a finger of your hand or whatever. And remember, Joe Biden lost before he hit the Senate, he lost some of his family members. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, murder is the sport of the elected. And that's an old song. And remember, Sting was he was a member of that band. And that's interesting that the band is called The Police, right?
Yeah.
Ouch.
They also
But
have that song that every move you make,
oh yeah, and look,
I'm
and this
watching you.
yeah, and this album is called Synchronicity. And remember Sting, a member of this band, like Police Sting, but Sting was 380 months old when this album released, 38, like Murder, Death, Killing, R.I.P. And this album released in 83.
And
Like
King of Pain.
what, King of Pain? What?
Yeah, that's off that album too, I think.
Oh, if I heard it, I'd probably know. But murder is the sport of the elected, right? And look, we mentioned that earlier. June, he was found guilty of killing Kristine K, killing K. And that's Trump's birthday in June. Even Trump's born on the 14th. Dead equals 14 as well. And I don't know if there's any stories about it, but you might see stories about Trump possibly connected with the mob as well.
Well, the Unforgiven equals 164, which is his birthday, just in a different.
Oh, it does? And
yeah.
So bring up that Unforgiven point that you made again earlier. There's the 187, the murder code.
And
there's the 61.
47, 16. Yeah, 16.
But bring up the Unforgiven, explain what that is again.
So the Unforgiven is a Aryan Brotherhood prison gang that's really big in Florida. They're allegedly connected to drugs, huge connection to drugs, but also to trafficking.
And when I put the Unforgiven in Florida, look, Wade Wilson pops right up right there.
Yeah, he has been putting this story out how they made him do these acts, and also that the real reason that these happened was because of sexual trafficking.
And so
that to his girlfriend.
That makes me
Melissa.
think that they're just trying to incorporate all of these trending stories into one story. You know what I'm saying? This guy, I think the tattoos, this guy doesn't look like these other criminals. You know what I'm saying?
And the other thing that's weird is Wade Wilson was actually on an episode of Deadliest Catch. So that's kind of weird too.
Oh, and you get dead like Deadpool and death penalty.
Yep. And Catch, like he was caught.
Yeah, I get Luigi Mangione vibes here. Just a character. I mean, I don't know, but damn. Whew. So I got this jacket on and it's getting freaking warm now. But anyways, let's see what...
there's like they're I guess one of the biggest prison gangs allegedly in Florida. They kind of run a lot of the jails in the dirty south of Florida right now, and
that's interesting you bring up jail and prison because they have jail and prison politics, and when you're locked up in there, the guards and the lieutenants, sergeants, whatever they call, they let the inmates control the situation, and it's all ran off of politics.
Yeah.
So you get that political connection again here.
And he's Wade Wilson is like on what is it called, where he's kept isolated. He's kind of on 23-and-1.
Yeah, and again, we don't know if he's really in there, and that would help with that fact, wouldn't it?
Where he's protected, but
yeah,
how long will he be protected?
And
until one of the guards, drop the gate.
And we don't know if he's really in there. So what did I say this earlier? What is the movie Deadpool about? Because anybody who
I'm a DC gal, not a Marvel gal.
Okay, because if somebody who watched this movie, there's going to be other connection. Like there's probably a guy named Donald in there. But that's interesting that you said DC because that's like Washington DC with the politics.
Yeah.
And again, you get red right here, like Republican. So Wade Wilson is a former special forces operative. That's interesting. That makes you think of agent, like a government agent,
Yeah.
who now works as
And
a mercenary. So could this connect to Trump somehow? Who now
I
works as a
feel like
mercenary?
I feel like with everything that's transpired with this case, with the calls that have been released and all of that, and all the women that are connected to this case, I feel like there is a lot of federal agents that are connecting to him on the low. And I feel like this is now federal.
That's possible. But that's just a part of the story, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah.
Like, and Trump does have that history with, they would say, uh, kind of being a pig, referring to women and such like
Am I
that.
allowed to say the symbol that he has on his face and head in this live?
Uh,
The
I don't see
Nazis.
why it's a big deal because it's just a fake ass platform, and you know what
Well,
I'm
it's
saying?
interesting because that symbol with the tattoo in the cipher equals 94, which is the same year that Wilson was born.
Okay, and then Kamala Harris, the 49th vice president, and Kamala Harris equals 49, which is the reverse.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, adoption equals 94 too, ordinal.
And as far as this story too, you get a lot of symbolism because you could read what this movie's about. Deadpool uses his new skills to hunt down the man who nearly destroyed his life, and they'll do symbolism almost like it's a game. You know what I'm saying? So, not saying it's true, but like this could relate to Trump or so, you know what I mean? But it's symbolism is what we got to catch here. But that's interesting. So let's kind of go forward because we're at 47 minutes and we'll try to keep this around an hour. And I'm not seeing where there's a date on this execution or however it's going to go down.
There isn't one. He has to go through appeals, all of his appeals, and then the ones that go to the Supreme Court before he'll be getting a date for his execution.
Okay.
And that can take up to 22 years at least.
Oh, and Donald John Trump equals 220 like 22 and Nazi equals 22.
Right.
And think of Trump Tower, TT, and T, the 20th letter of the alphabet, and his last birthday left 200 days in the year. They like to compare him to Tupac.
And in the article, it says that they have the choice in Florida to get lethal injection or execution. That's not true. It's mainly all lethal injection at this point. Right.
And that's interesting how we brought up the needle earlier with that other thing.
Yeah.
And that connects to Trump as well because his character helped to bring all that in. And that was in 2020, more twos, right? Trump 2020. More twos. Damn. Okay, so let's go forward here and let's try to wrap this up in the next 10 or 12 minutes. This is going pretty nice, I think. And this is a live, which will be made public afterwards. But these always, they don't really let people view these. And we don't know if real people view these anyways. But we mentioned earlier that Trump equals 25 and Wade Wilson's birthday, the 20th day of the 5th month. And we're in the year 25. Look at Ryan Reynolds plays Wade Wilson in the Marvel character in Deadpool. Look at, he's currently 48 years old and Donald Trump equals 48. And notice again, he's born on the 23rd and Donald equals 23. So all of this stuff is connected. That's even Obama's birthday, the 4th day of the 8th month. Look, these are those 39s that you brought up a couple of times. I think it was Lee County, was it, that equaled 39?
Yeah, Lee County equals 39.
And the killing in 2019, 20 plus 19 is 39. Kamala equals 39. Trump's birthday before this killing, 39 date numerology.
And
And
also
you,
Deadpool killer equals 139 too.
yeah, and Donald Trump equals 138, which is one number less.
Yeah.
Look, you even get 23 date numerology on Trump's birthday before the killing, and Donald equals 23. So we've more than proven this script. It's almost overwhelming, isn't it?
There's another thing that I just noticed, if I may. So, from Wade's birthday, which is 5/2024, to the date that he was sentenced on August 27th, 2024, that's 99 days, right? And then we have Deadpool's year of birth as 1990, 99, 99. But I feel like there's a 99 connection that we're missing.
A 99 connection.
Also, 99 prime number, the 99th prime number is 5/23, which is 3 days after
Ooh,
his birthday, Wade Wilson's birthday.
that's interesting as well. Go back to that August. Repeat that August information again.
So Wade Wilson is born May 20th. So his birthday was May 20th, 2024. His sentencing was August 27th, 2024. That was when he was sentenced by Judge Nicholas Thompson for the death penalty.
Well, that's cool because, excuse me to cut you off. That's cool because that's the 8th month and Trump equals 88. And every time you get something with the letter H, the 8th letter, like Hail Hitler, stuff like that.
Right.
That 8 connects to Trump with the 88 big time. So that's a key point there. Okay, go on.
And so that's 99 days in between his birthday to his death sentencing by the judge. Because first, how the courts run is you get in Florida is you get sentenced by the jury. Then the judge deliberates and decides if that's the best decision or what will happen. So the judge has the ultimate sentencing say. So that sentencing was on August 27th, 2024. Another thing that was really interesting is Deathpool's age at Wade Wilson's sentencing. His birthday is December 11th, 1990.
So is that who is, so when you say Deathpool or Deadpool, who's that? Is
The
that
Marvel
from the movie?
character that we're talking about.
Oh, his name's actually Deadpool Wade Wilson?
Yeah, if we look at the Deadpool character that we're talking about, his age sentencing from his birthday that is, shown in the Marvel
Right.
timeline or whatever, he would be 33 years old.
And Trump's first attempt on his life was the 13th day of the 7th month, and 137 is the 33rd prime number as well.
And Diane also equals her first name in ordinal equals 33, but also 33 as a prime number, the 33rd prime number is 137.
Right, which I just mentioned, right?
Right.
So that's cool. And even D like Deadpool, D like Donald. Wouldn't it be cool if we can do this for a living and get paid? And we could just go on and on and on. We could actually get into the movie. I stopped doing like such detailed breakdowns. My videos are trying to limit them to 20 minutes now because the platform's just completely fake. Like, I think
it doesn't want to really recognize.
Well, this is what I think they do is I think it's okay to put this information out, but I think they know who you are and your background, and they know like your family's background, and if you're not like the right religion, then they don't push it. You know what I mean?
The other thing is in the second article that you shared, not the lethal injection with Trump, but the second article that you shared, They had a misspelling for petty theft. They put it as petite theft, which
Oh
is
yeah.
interesting because of the Gabby Petito case that is now trending right now.
Right. Okay. Right. Interesting. I remember that. That was right around the time that Trump got
And
into
that is
office
also
too.
the connection to Florida as well. There's a Florida connection there too. So I
And
don't
you
know if
get
that was an
Ron DeSantis, Ron like Donald, and DeSantis D like Donald, Ronald McDonald, McDonald's, all of that. And that Gabby Petito thing, that was right around the Trump Biden thing when Biden beat Trump out.
Yeah, it was a really timing is I think that there is a lot that is being utilized with these cases with the language, but
Oh,
also
absolutely. Absolutely, Jeanèt. It's absolutely by the language, first and foremost.
and I think it's really important to pay attention to what is especially being put on TikTok. I would like to see what TikTok is in the cipher because I
You know
really
what's it?
don't want any
That's
affiliation
amazing.
to
That's
that.
amazing. That's amazing how you brought up TikTok because I'm about to drop a TikTok video. A guy ate himself to death. They call it, there's a certain name for it where you eat yourself to death. It's like I don't know if it's a eating challenge or one of those stupid things,
Oh my.
but he ate himself to death and he went viral on TikTok.
Oh my.
TikTok equals 86 and
86, eh?
86 to get rid of, and 23, and there's that 76
No
again.
way. I knew that
Yeah.
there was a connection.
Yep. Right there. Let me see. You see right there? There's the
76 and 40. Wow. Okay, hold on. Let
you
me see what I got. Let me see
you
what I got here.
United States, US, and USA all equal 40. Donald equals 23, and there's that 76 and the 86, which is all over this story. But TikTok doesn't necessarily connect to this story, right?
Well, it's interesting because
T like
TikTok and
Trump.
YouTube is where all of this
Oh yeah.
information is being put. And if well, there is a connection. 67, okay, is Deadpool killer. 76, 67.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right about that. And T TikTok like Trump as well.
Yeah.
And Trump's the one who
And
kind of
also
brought
like
up that
Thompson,
ban.
like
Oh yeah.
judge that
Yep.
ruled on this case.
Right. So let's go through these last few slides here, and then I'll play one more clip, and then we could probably wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Look at this. So Deadpool released on the 43rd day of the year.
Stop. That's what
And
Florida equals.
yeah, and
43.
killing and Florida equal 43, and Diane Ruiz age 43.
And so does jurors equal 43 too.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And Kristine K, the other victim as well. Simply amazing. And even
67 also equals Christine Melton.
yeah,
With, that 76 connection with
right.
TikTok.
Right, and murder and morgue equal 34, which is this reverse. So that's so I put that together just yesterday. You know, we brought this up again yesterday, and I will bring it up again. I'm secure enough with who I am as a male, but again, this a decent looking guy. And if you look at the Ted Bundy case where he was killing women, a part of the storyline, they mentioned that was a good looking guy. And then Ryan Reynolds obviously is a decent looking guy who's in the Deadpool movie. None of that is a coincidence. Yeah, whether you believe so or not, in general, it's going to be a decent looking male in general for the majority. And again, we have this rapper Stitches who is out of Florida who has those same tattoos. I'm trying to get this.
he also has why so serious. So I'm not sure if those tattoos are connected to stitches or if they're connected to the Joker from Marvel Batman.
Well, that makes sense too because the Joker movie was just trending with Joker 2.
Right?
And you know what's interesting about that is Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., like Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
But look, and even this rapper Stitches, he's the one who really started this big trend with the face tattoos, and he's got his name Stitches, obviously. He's got stitches on his face. He's out of Florida. And do you know for sure that Wade Wilson is out of Florida?
Well, he's lived there and has been in the jail system since I think at least 2019, if not prior.
Okay. This rapper hit huge with the face tattoos even before like Tekashi 69. And then this guy went away, like they used him to get people to do the face tattoo thing. But that's interesting because you get the Florida connection.
But I believe that he was born there when he was put up for adoption, stayed there for a little bit, then his parents moved. But I'm not sure on the logistics of that.
Is there anything else that we're missing? Obviously we're like awaiting this death. Is there anything major, just anything major that we may have missed with all of this? I don't think so. I think we kind of covered it. Right? Again, these were brutal murders. When I first heard the first murder of Kristine, I'm like, okay, well, that just kind of seems like a basic murder. Not to make light of it, but
I didn't check what strangulation was in the cipher.
It might be a good idea. Let's look at it.
That's the only thing I didn't check on my end.
There's the 30. Look, there's 48, and look, there's the inauguration date.
33, and the 122.
And there's 48 like Donald Trump right there. And remember, Ryan Reynolds, who plays Wade Wilson, Deadpool, is age 48.
Yep.
I don't know if that's spelt right. Probably not. Let's get rid of that L right there. Anyways, I think we're good here. Jeanèt, I want to play this video clip again. I have another, like a 2-minute clip. Is there anything major, like who, what, when, where, and why that you think we may have missed? Only major points. We're waiting on, I guess, this death to happen.
Do you know what the prime number of 1,785 is?
No.
That's how many days he was in jail from the murder to the sentencing.
I don't know, but look at this article date. It's the 30th day of the 8th month, the 38. I'm going to play this video, this 2-minute clip here, and then we're going to wrap it up. We're at an hour and 3 minutes.
We did good.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let's play this.
We, the jury, find by a vote of 9-3 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death.
Jurors made that recommendation for both Kristine's and Diane's murders. It's a decision Assistant State Attorney Sarah Miller calls a relief.
You know, you're asking someone to take another life, and so it's always a difficult thing. But I think in this case, it was a justified act, given just the horrific nature of this case.
Miller says this is not only justice for the women, but a win for other victims.
We've heard from many women who had been victimized by the defendant, but maybe didn't go forward on charges or for whatever reason didn't find justice in the justice system.
Over the past day, they heard from the families of Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz. They also heard from doctors before the final pleas from both sides on Tuesday. Assistant State Attorney Sarah Miller focused on the killings themselves.
Both murders were especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel. He inflicted pain, and he showed utter indifference to her life.
Miller showed evidence, a curtain rod with blood on it, comparing it to the weight of the decision. The attorney then honed in on the diagnoses by doctors.
It's not credible that mental illness caused the defendant to murder Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz. He was under the influence of power, of lust, of control, of hate.
And Wilson's drug addiction.
Many people, ladies and gentlemen, suffer from drug addiction, but they don't go out and commit murders.
Defense attorney Kevin Shirley asked jurors to focus on Wilson's state of mind.
He's sick. He's got a diseased mind. There's something wrong with his brain. It doesn't work like everybody else's does.
Shirley also read a letter from Wilson's adoptive sister.
Wade, like his birth mother, became a victim of his diseased mind that is now overtaken by the monster of disease and addiction.
Even though the jury recommends the death penalty, the judge will have the final say, but state law says he has to weigh their decision heavily.
Okay, so we gave you a lot. We gave a lot of information here. There may be something basic. Is Jeanèt here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there may, I don't know why you're not, how come it doesn't pull you up to, there you are. There may be some basic things maybe we missed, but we gave a lot of information here. And I would say within a few minutes, we discredited this whole story. I mean, it's completely a script by the language and obviously other connections and these letters with their numerical values. And right when I saw a Deadpool killer, I'm like, oh my God, they're mentioning a movie, right? This is all a movie. And I appreciate you for bringing this up. This goes along with what I do daily. So not out of my way at all, other than, you know, a little bit longer on this live. And this is a live. They don't let people view these. The videos, I'll get some videos that'll hit 1,000, 2,000 views, hundreds. They don't let people watch the lives, and we don't even know if real people are watching. They just put the number there.
Yeah, it could be just the bot.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not falling for it. I found out a long time ago, but I'm still, this is good for a lot of reasons, because we're doing this for the right reason, to get this info out there that the world's fake. We're not falling for it. This is a story. We're, like I said, we're doing this for the right reasons. We want people to know this stuff is just a script. It's pumped out of a computer by the numbers and the language. Do you have anything you need to add before we go, Jeanèt?
The sentencing videos, man. I just see a poor little lost boy in those videos that's been fucked over, part of my language, by the system so many times, let down by the system. You can see it in his eyes, like his eyes are so broken, but he's sitting there trying to be so strong.
So he could be playing his role well, if it is just a role.
It's so saddening to me how the system fails.
And
we're supposed to rely on that system.
Yeah, and that crosses over to real life, because, you know, I've been through it, maybe you. Every time you got to turn to the system for help, even if it's for help or if it's out of your control and you're mixed up in the system, you know it's going to be a mess.
I think it's important to really know what your rights are and understand your rights, because the police aren't going to tell you what your rights are or explain them to you.
And
they're going to take advantage of your rights and do anything that they can to incriminate you, because that's what their job is to collect evidence, to collect money for the judicial system.
Yeah, and even if you do know your rights, they're going to put you through the ringer. So it's like a lose-lose situation. But we will wrap it up there. I'll probably play like some outro music that I have here to exit out of here, okay? I appreciate you for bringing this to my attention. I appreciate you for being here for the breakdown. We will do this again.
Thanks for letting me have the opportunity.
I appreciate you. And we'll exit on some AI music or something that I have here, and maybe like some video images as we exit this channel. But let me show this again here. Wade Wilson, Deadpool killer, not so trendy, but still kind of trendy. Sentenced to death for atrocious murders of women. Again, he strangled Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz on the same night in October 2019. these murders the judge called heinous, atrocious, and cruel. This is Daily Decodes 812. Shout out to Jeanèt Schneider. This is Matthew O'Connor, Math2Con. Just know you got all of this information from us. And the thumbnail hits heavy again. Shout out to anybody who will view this. There's always some information we may have missed. But this is a fake world we live, and I think we proved it. So until next time, and I'll play some outro music as we get out of here. Okay? So
Have a beautiful day.
Deceived by the lies, educated in codes, exposed to the light, darkness unfolds. Politics, entertainment, religion, and sports, killing death patterns in the courts. Fake characters, spotted fictional distractions, truth, fairy tales, and Hollywood's attractions. Puppets and leaders controlling our minds, from local to worldwide. It's time to unwind. Decode the truth, break it down. 2020. See through the lies in this twisted plenty. Puppets of leaders controlling our minds, from local to worldwide. It's time to unwind. Decode the truth, break it down. 2020. See through the lies in this twisted plenty. Secret clubs hiding what's real. Who knows the deal? Who holds the seal? One thing for sure, it's all a facade. Lies upon lies, a charade so flawed. Mind control from dusk till dawn, manipulating us all like pawns. Puppets and leaders controlling our minds, from local to worldwide. It's time to unwind. Decode the truth, break it down. 2020. See through the lies in this twisted plenty. Puppets of leaders controlling our minds, from local to worldwide. It's time to unwind. Decode the truth, break it down. 2020. See through the lies in this twisted plenty. Hidden agendas and twisted schemes. Illusions shattered by truth's gleam. No more blind obedience to the